Good morning, my wonderful and amazing people. I greet you all again and I bring you all good tidings. God bless you all. This DPA lawyer, the guy, they really teach us a lot. And, I just want to just kind of define or explain a little bit what I know about a contract and a breach of a contract before I play this. Contract, all of us know that a contract is an agreement between two people, two parties, that creates an obligation to perform a particular duty, or is a legal document, it's an agreement that specifies certain legal enforceable rights and obligations pertaining to two or more parties that is outlined in a document. So when you breach a contract, it is a violation of any of those agreed legal documents. All the terms that were in those legal documents, then you breach all of those agreement. That is what a contract and a breach of contract is. But as it pertains to this alleged job that Kanayo is accusing this actress of, is what the DPA is going to explain to us. How allegedly it could be that Kanayo is also breaching a non-existent contract. So my people, I beg, we're gonna listen to them. It's about to. Everyone. They say I interrupt a lot. I'm not going to interrupt anymore.
To our discussion today on our live session, and today's topic is going to be about contracts. When is a contract not a valid contract? Why did I choose this topic? I will explain it. Recently, there was a dispute whereby a Nollywood actor came out and made a video accusing a young artist, a young actor and her mother of breaching his contract. And he issued threats, including threats that had elements of violence in it. I came to DPA and I said, no, you don't do it. Even if there was a contract breached, you don't do it. This is not how to enforce contract. Some people, that are few in number though, they came out and they questioned my position, and all they kept saying was that a contract was a contract, that there was a contract, that they signed a contract. In other words, that the woman and her child being accused signed a contract to be on the set, movie set, until midnight. However, they left by 9 p.m. So it was very surprising to me that people, some of them in their 30s, some of them in their 20s, were all responding to me, and all they could say was that a contract was a contract. I was troubled by that because that was not an intelligent position to take. It meant that they did not understand the meaning of contract. My mind goes back to 36 years ago, 36 years ago, when I first studied contract law in law school. And throughout that period of time, I have had to deal with the issue of contract. What is contract? A situation where people do not understand contract or its meaning and assume that once there is a promise or an agreement, anything could happen to you as a result of it. When that happens, it gives me concern, and I'll be forced to come to our group, as I do constantly, to have a better explanation of the meaning of these concepts. First and foremost, I need to explain to you what contract is and what makes contract different from mere promise. A contract is a promise, but not every promise is a contract. So you need to be able to distinguish between the two. A contract is a promise which can be enforced by the instrument of the state. A contract is a promise which, if breached, you can use the power of the state to enforce it. In other words, contract is a promise which the law can enforce. From that explanation, you begin to get the idea that it's not every promise that the law can enforce. You begin to get an idea that there are some promises the court can enforce, the law can enforce, and there are promises the law cannot enforce. Once you get an idea, then the next question will be, what are those promises that the state can enforce? What does it take for the state to be able to enforce a promise? It is that promise that is contract, promise that can be enforced by the coercive power of the state. What do I mean by the coercive power of the state? It means that when this contract is breached, you will go to court. Court of law will give force to it, dispatch court authority and court officials and law enforcement to enforce the contract. So, promises that the state, when we mean the state, we could mean government, you can call it government or anything or country, but it means the authority of the government. So, promises that they can help you enforce. That is what contract is. And why did we even get the contract, by the way? Let us go back in time. In the past, people dealt with their family members. And when they deal with their family members, they have no problem. They don't have any fear that the family member will not keep the promise. For instance, if you want to lend money to your mother now, if your mother walks up to you and says, son or daughter, I need 100,000, and you have 100,000, you give it to your mom, you will not ask for anything in writing. Why? Because trust exists. You trust your mom. There's no need to look for witnesses, to look for evidence of the transaction. You trust your mom. Contract is what starts where trust ends. When trust stops, contract continues. So as people began to deal with people outside their family, people outside their community, people they don't really know, like you're a trader and somebody who wants to buy things from you or supply you things, you've never met him before. But there is a belief that whatever he says he will do, he will do. Why do you have to have such belief? It is because you know that should he fail to do what he promised to do, you can take him to court and the court will order him to keep his promise. That is what a contract is. It is not every time that you have an understanding with someone or a promise with someone that a contract is created. It's not every time that people sign a document that the law will help you to enforce it. If the law cannot help you to enforce it, it's not a contract. So a contract is not always a contract. What you call a contract is not always a valid contract. You need to understand why, and I will explain to you this. 30-something years ago, when we studied law, or when we began to read law, contract was defined to us in very simple terms, and they said there were a few elements, about 3, 4 elements, 5 elements there. But as we look at it today, with better articulation, with modern minds on it, there are 7 elements to a contract. In other words, for a promise to be capable of enforcement by law, that promise must have the following elements. It must have an offer. Somebody must offer to do something, promise to do something. That is the beginning of it. then that offer must be accepted. The other person must agree to accept the promise made. It is typical. I'll pay you $100 if you mow my lawn. I'll pay you, or I'll transport you from Lagos to Onitsha if you pay X amount. An offer must be made, and that offer must be accepted. When he says, hey, if you pay 20,000, I'll drive you to Onitsha. That is an offer. You can walk away, you can say no thank you, and you move away. You can also say, sure, this is the 20,000. You have accepted that offer. There must be consideration. In other words, something must be given for the promise. There must be consideration. And the consideration was the value rendered to you by taking you to Onitsha. What if he says to you, hey, if you pay me 20,000, I will increase the size of your penis? Something he's not capable of doing, something he can't do, something he has no control over. If you pay him money, you pay him money for nothing. The reason it is for nothing is because there was no consideration, nothing given in return for your money. Also, another element, this is one of the new elements that are coming in modern definition and articulation of contract. There must be intention to create a legal relationship. There must be an intention to create a legal relationship. Somebody must intend to be bound. Somebody must say, hold me responsible and sue me if I don't deliver it. This is what is going to create a difference if your dad says to you, hey, or your uncle says to you, if you pass your exams, I'll buy you something. Obviously, your uncle is not expecting to go to court with you. He has no intention of creating a legal relationship with you. This is a family, a promise between family members. Also, a lot of the interactions between you and your girlfriend and your lover, or those things you say, are not intended to create a legal relationship. Even though there was a promise, even though things were exchanged, but no legal relationship was intended to be created. I will give you an example. A woman came to DPA. She complained against her husband. She said that the man was owing her $23,000. 23,000 naira. Sorry. And the man is demanding for her to pay back the 65,000 he gave to her when she was going for her mother's funeral. The man gave his wife 65,000. Now the man is asking for it, and the woman kept telling the husband, why didn't you tell me you were loaning me money? Why didn't you tell me you were loaning me money? That was a way of saying, why didn't you tell me you were creating a legal relationship between us? I thought this was just a gift. I thought you were just supporting me. So, another element is authority and capacity. The person entering into agreement with you must have the capacity to do so. If you're having a contract with a 16-year-old girl, she lacks the capacity to enter into that contract. You must make sure it was signed by her guardian or her parent. Otherwise, the minor lacks capacity to enter into a contract. It doesn't matter how intelligent she sounded and what she signed. The only possible exception are what we call the necessaries. Necessaries. A child walks up to you, takes a pack of chocolate, and she's supposed to pay. She needs the chocolate. It's necessary. Okay? Contract must also have the element of certainty. It must be clear what was agreed. It must be very clear. If you have an agreement, as in that case I gave to you, that somebody will be making movie that the time will be up by 12 midnight, or rather, they said their contract lasts this day. In other words, you agree with me that you will be at my set or on my set shooting movies, and we said that you shoot from Monday to Thursday. You know, today is Thursday. And you say, contract from Monday to Thursday. Now, when will Thursday expire? When will Thursday be over? Thursday will still be Thursday until midnight. However, does it mean that people who are to work will work till midnight? So Thursday may mean the working hours of Thursday, 6 p.m. Thursday may mean until midnight. Thursday may mean 5 hours on Thursday, whether it is 5 hours from 12 noon to 5 p.m. So, if you just say Thursday, that contract has elements of uncertainty. It's not precise. It's not clear. In the case of Kanayo, he said they had a contract with the girl called Angel to be on the movie till that day. And he said the day is not yet over. So what do you mean by the day is not yet over? If my staff works today till 5 p.m. and goes home, can I claim that she left by 5 p.m. so she didn't work on Thursday? So when you deal with this sort of thing, the contract wants you to be very certain, very precise, very precise. If you work with someone that requires hours, you have to pinpoint the hour, starting time and ending time. And indeed, you're expected to put contingencies for what will happen in case there's a problem, power outage or problems. Now, if this girl was to work till midnight, what happens after midnight? Was there any discussion as to where she will sleep, how she will sleep, the security and safety of her sleeping? If the girl works till midnight but cannot leave until 6 a.m. the next morning, from that midnight to 6 a.m., she's in your house, not in her house. So she's still working. She must still, is she still working for you from midnight to 6 a.m. that she's in your premises? Or is she on her own from midnight? So you see that the contract lacks elements of certainty. It did not have certainty. And without certainty, the court will not help you to enforce it. In other words, it's not very valid. That contract or that aspect of the contract is not enforceable. So you may have a contract, but you don't have a contract. Now, there is one other element of contract that you must know. That element is legal purpose. The contract must have a legal purpose. In other words, what you agree to do must be lawful. If it's not lawful, it's not a contract that the state can enforce. Oh yes. Oh yes. Now let me explain to you. You call a girl on the phone, you met her on social media, you chat, you say, oh please come over, spend the night with me. She says, how much will you pay? You say, well, I will give you 50,000. She says, no, I want 100,000. And you should send it before I start coming. Or she says, okay, send my tea fare. You send her tea fare, she did not come. Has she breached your contract? What was the purpose of the contract? The purpose of the contract was for sex for money. Sex for money is prostitution. And Nigeria doesn't allow prostitution. So you and this girl had an agreement to engage in an unlawful act. So are you going to go to court and say, my lord, she breached my contract? They say, what contract? Contract to come and spend the night with me and I'll pay her money. There's no contract. Of course, it doesn't mean the girl can cheat you and take your money, but it's a different thing altogether. So when you say contract, that contract is a contract, you gotta be careful. Many of you make this mistake, many people make this mistake, and it's very unfortunate. I remember the case of Ike Kwaremadu, Senator Ike Kwaremadu, and David Mimu, the 21-year-old boy who agreed to donate his organ, his kidney. He and Ekweremadu had a contract. He had a contract agreement to give his kidney. They took the boy to UK. The boy ran away when he understood what it was. Indeed, Ike Ekweremadu's case is very classic example of when a contract is not a contract. They paid the boy money, flew the boy to UK, took the boy in there for his organs. During the interaction between the hospital and the boy, they realized that the boy did not understand what it was all about. They realized David had no idea. He didn't even know what kidney meant. So when they explained it to him, he said, no, those hospitals, knowing what it was, knowing he did not consent, they withdrew and they let the boy go. The hospital did not even call the police. They just refused to do it. They refused to do it. But they used the term. They said the organ was not compatible. He said incompatibility. What is incompatibility? It didn't mean biological incompatibility. It meant that the conditions were not met. So the boy came back to where he was staying. They now told him he had to go back to Nigeria. He said, but that's not what we agreed. He said I should be in UK. They said, prepare, we are sending you back to Nigeria. And this poor boy did not want to leave the United Kingdom. So he went and stayed in the street. He ran out of the house, was staying in the street when the police found him. And the police took him, interviewed him. He told them, he initially lied. He said he was 15. And when that happened, that's what we call red herring. He sent you on a wrong chase. Because he lied about his age, people assumed that it was a matter of age. They thought that they were dealing with the element of capacity. Because if he was 15, then he lacked the capacity. So the argument was that, oh, David was 21. Many people like all these people telling me contract is contract. They were arguing, oh, contract is contract. The boy agreed. He knew what he agreed. He agreed. And the Ekweremadu sent his lawyers to Nigeria to prove that David was not 15. But that was a big problem for them. There was the other element, lawful purpose. Lawful purpose. That agreement lacked lawful purpose because it's a crime in United Kingdom to pay for organ. To sell your organ or to buy organ or to have an agreement to donate organ is a crime in the UK. That was an important element. The contract was lacking an important element, and that important element was lawful purpose. So what you said was contract was not contract. It sent Ekweremadu and his wife to prison. Long-term prison term. So you understand? Do you now understand that contract is not always contract? And it is not, I hate to have people in my organization, in a group, in a forum that I run, and people will be coming there to display ignorance. Contract is contract. Contract is not contract, my friend. Contract must meet the elements of law to be a contract. Whenever you see two people and somebody say, he signed a contract, he said, pause, just calm down. Calm down. Ask to know the details of the contract. Ask to know the elements of the contract. So, Kanayo's contract with Angel was lacking several elements of a good contract. It was not enforceable. It wasn't even in writing. And when a contract is not in writing, there is a problem with that. The problem is certainty. What did the parties really agree? The court doesn't want to waste time and say, oh, he promised me this. And he said, no, that's not what I promised. He promised me. It's uncertain. If the terms are not clear, the courts cannot enforce it. So, what contract did Kanayo have with that girl? I'm assuming that the girl's mother signed the contract. If the girl's mother did not sign the contract, that contract will have another problem, which is the problem of capacity. The 16-year-old girl lacked capacity to enter into that contract with him. And if the contract is not in writing, it is imprecise. If the contract did not detailedly explain how to deal with the hours leading to midnight and what will happen about midnight, it is lacking certainty. It's not enforceable. Indeed, the most likely thing is that the court will agree with the mother that 9 p.m. was completion time for the contract. So, Ekweremadu is in prison because contract was contract. Now, in the case of David Umemi Ekweremadu's case, so many things came out in a trial. It was found out that the boy did not know. They didn't explain to him what it was about. And that's a problem. That was the element of exploitation. There were 3 elements of exploitation, which was the anchor of that offense in the United Kingdom. Exploitation was it. Viz. Organ harvesting. And the judge, if you listen to the judgment of that judge, it was very brilliant. Very, very, very profound. The judge said they took advantage of his young age and isolation from family and poverty. His family members were not involved. He did not get advice. He didn't understand what he was doing. And he was too young to have done such things by himself. A person that age would have needed guidance and advice. So he was too young. He was removed from his family. He was in Lagos when his family was in Abakaliki. And above all, his poverty created inequality of bargaining power. The contract was so lopsided. And guess what? This is very important. You have to understand this. The judge in Ike Ekweremadu's case said there was no arrangement for what we call follow-up care. If a person donates his kidney, he may have complications that will come up months, years after. There was no arrangement for that. No follow-up. So, for him, he ended the contract at harvesting his kidney, but left everything else silent. Likewise, in Kanayo's contract, ended with midnight, but left everything silent about 1 a.m., 2 a.m. What will Angela be doing in his house? Will she be sleeping? Will she be walking? Is her time, the extra time she stays there waiting for morning, was she paid for it? Was it included? Was there an arrangement for safe transportation home by midnight? Nothing. You left it empty. So, no law will enforce that contract. No law. I'm glad we're having this discussion. And let me use this opportunity to warn our members. If you are not a lawyer, DPA is a law classroom. If you are not a lawyer and you are dealing with my post, please ask questions. Ask questions. It is extremely annoying when you try to teach me law. Like one nice lady started teaching me contract law. It was precisely for her comment that I had to make this post, this discussion. She told me there was contract. This woman saying to me there was a contract has never sat in a contract law class. She doesn't know anything about it. And I volunteer myself to share with you my experience, 37 years of experience in law. You haven't been to any legal environment. You come and you are wasting our time. Ask me questions. Pepper me with questions. Since you are very intelligent, ask intelligent questions. Since you want to show how intelligent you are, you can show it by the type of questions you ask. Why not ask me questions that I won't be able to answer? Why not ask me questions that I will begin to stumble about over? That is how I know you're intelligent. That's how you can be intelligent. But when I explain the law and you come and offer your idea that is contrary, who does not law, or you say contrary opinion, no. We are not dealing with opinions here. We are dealing with law, facts. So, you either have know the law, or you understand the facts of the case, or at least you will be clear that this is my thought, or this is my opinion, this is what I think. Otherwise, just ask you questions. If you give me a medical doctor now, and the doctor explains medicine, if I think he talked nonsense, I'll ask him questions that will show he talked nonsense. I'll ask him some questions he can't answer. But it would be stupid of me to come and start giving my own medical theory just because I think that the doctor doesn't know it. So you come to DPA to help us have intelligent discussions, ask questions. If you don't know the law and you don't know the facts of the case, ask questions. Otherwise, you can say, well, this is my thought. This is an opinion I have. But please don't present theory of what you don't know. Contract is not always contract. When you are dealing with contract, look at equality of bargaining power. Look at certainty, information. Because one other thing I did not tell you about contract, it must be freely entered into. It must be a product of free will. Any element of duress, undue influence, force, intimidation, coercion is not contract. And how do we read the issue of duress? We look at bargaining power. We look at the party's bargaining power. Can you imagine now if your employer calls you, say, hey, Kathy, how are you? Oh, Kathy, my nanny is sick and has gone home. But I need you to come and cook for me today. Come and cook for my family because my nanny is gone. Many of you will go and cook, even though you have even something more important to do. Now, can we say there's a contract? There's no contract. There was undue influence. There was duress implied. The same reason, what if your dean, your professor in the university, calls you, sits you down, and says, well, this is your paper, I'm marking it. You tried, but not so well. I mean, you nearly made an A. But no, I can't give you A. And after saying that, the same professor says, I like you. Can we have sex? And you say yes. Do you think she agreed? No. There was no agreement. There was no contract. She was intimidated. She was afraid. She's afraid. Okay, let's say a police officer is sitting down in his desk. They've just arrested your younger brother. And that's why we know, if your brother, if a young man is arrested, someone is arrested, please don't send a beautiful girl from the family to talk to the police. Send an old man, send a lawyer. Because when the beautiful girl shows up and says to the DPO, hey, I am the sister of the man in detention. You are holding my brother. I'm here to get him released. And the DPO says, okay. His offense is grievous. He's going to prison. And he will stay in prison for a long time. Maybe for life. The girl begins to beg. Or the woman begins to beg. The young mother. Please, officer, please don't take my son. Please help me. Help me. My husband died last 2 years. We've been struggling. We are poor. We are this. Please help me. Please help me, officer. And the officer sits back and says, okay, I'll help you. Don't worry. Come back tomorrow. And she comes back tomorrow. The officer will hide himself. The woman will wait and not see him. She now becomes very panicked. He comes in and says, okay, I will see you, but meet me at the hotel by 7 p.m. Come meet me at the hotel by 7 p.m. And the woman goes to the hotel. And the officer says, hey, you're beautiful. I like you. Come here. And begins to touch the woman. And the woman agrees for sex. Did she agree? Was that an agreement to you? Was there a contract? For you, contract is contract. Was there a contract? Can you not see that the woman was acting under duress? Can you not see the overwhelming influence of the man? What about the employers? You come for a job. He wants to sleep with you. Did you agree to sleep with him? If you sleep with him. Did you? No. So anybody who always says contract is contract in an argument is stupid. Why did I have to call him stupid? Because I want to say something you will remember. People tell me, Emeka, why do you use harsh word? I say, because if I use nice word, they will forget. If I use simple words that, oh no, you're wrong, they will forget that. But if I say, no, you're stupid, they'll feel angry, but they will always remember it. So contract is not always contract. There must be equality of bargaining power. There must be voluntariness. There must be a lawful purpose. There must be clarity, certainty. There must be capacity to contract. Do you now understand why Kanayo might be wrong? Even if he had a contract with Angel, the method by which he tried to enforce it, no, he knew that the law would not help him. Kanayo knew that there was no contract. If there was contract, the law would help him. He knew the law would not help him, so he decided to scandalize the woman and her child on social media. He decided to threaten them. And I warned, I said this was wrong. Some people came and attacked me. Now look at the woman is giving Kanayo big pepper. If anybody is running now, it is Kanayo. He will regret that thing he did. So I was right. When I came out, I said, no, you don't do this. This is crazy. It could cost you. I didn't even know how much it will cost him. The woman is out. And you know what? She can go far. You threaten her daughter. And if, because of what you did, they are losing business. Other producers are now reluctant to invite them because Kanayo plunged them into a controversy. Accused them of cheating producers. thereby warning producers to avoid them and threatening to disrupt sets. And if you disrupt sets, many producers don't want trouble. They say, no, don't get this girl because we don't want our set disrupted. So if that woman likes, she can teach Kanayo Okanayo a lesson. He should go and beg her now. If he's smart, he should send people to say, please, 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 I'm sorry, let's forget it. So, in DPA, I try to keep you informed, to keep our members informed of what is happening, to explain trends for them, hoping that their presence and experience in DPA will result in improved knowledge of the law, improved knowledge of their environment. But it's frustrating when we give a post, instead of you asking questions to be cleared on things you don't know, on things you didn't understand, you are attacking the maker of the post, abusing him, suggesting things. If you do that, of course, you'll be taken out immediately. Completely. All right? So, you now know that when you are dealing with contract, it has to be clear. Many of you are signing tenancy agreements with landlord that are not contract. You come to landlord, you pay rent. After paying rent, he will go and write tenancy agreement. That's nonsense. He's going to write whatever he likes. You have to see the tenancy agreement, check it, you're satisfied, you pay, and they will give you your copy. So contract is contract. Those who say that are people who don't understand contract and always make mistakes. They always fail to enter into a valid binding contract, which will contain clear terms, clarity of terms. Okay? Thank you.
My people, I don't hear. So it is not just the Nollywood that this applies to only. It applies to all of us, our jobs, our daily living, every contract you are going into, whether it is verbal contract, that is handshake contract, or is the contract that is documented. You have a document with the such contract. Please make sure you have a copy and read every dotted I's and every crossed T's, so that you will know what and what is in that contract, so you don't break any contract. Please, thank you for watching, and please share and subscribe. My name is Patience. This is Patience Vlogs. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.